Hi, I'm Benthelooney, and I am number 5. I remember what I did while I was away for a year and a half. Turns out, I took up a new hobby. A hobby that I'm surprised I didn't get into earlier. It's one of the fundamental ways of learning and entertainment, and I'm going to share one of my discoveries with you today. That's right, today, I'm saluting something different. A book series! Hey! Don't even think about it. I'm going to get you guys into reading and you're going to like it. You might say you hate reading and all that jazz, but you only say that because your schools or your parents forced you to read. And they forced you to read, let's be honest, pretty useless and boring stuff. Oh, Catcher in the Rye is such a classic. It's about a whiny kid who swears a lot and walks around doing nothing. Thanks for making me read this in 10th grade, Mrs. Carson. Like I give a crap. So, here's an idea. How about reading for fun? Yes! Yes, you can do that. You just gotta find something you like. I know what I like. Monsters, Greek mythology, adventures, fantasy, action, comedy, and ambrosia. What series has all this and more? Percy Jackson and the Olympians. You mean the movie? No! No! I'm talking about the book series, which is actually good. Actually, I haven't seen the movies, but trust me, after reading the books, you'll see that there's no way they'd be able to capture the magic of these books on the big screen. Now I know what you're thinking. Ben, aren't these books for kids? Well, I have a suggestion for you, Mr. Claymore. How about going out and doing charity work instead of sitting on your fat ass and complaining about what people are doing on their free time when it's none of your damn business? So, sharpen your tridents. Here is my salute of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Don't worry, this review will be spoiler free. I'm not one of those people who reviews things and gives away all the good stuff. Where's the fun in that? I'm making this video so anyone can enjoy, whether you're fans of the book or know nothing about it and might be interested. Probably should stop babbling and get on with the... So, in the first book of the series, Percy Jackson is a regular New York kid who's getting kicked out of every middle school he goes to. Why? He suffers from ADHD and dyslexia, and trouble finds him wherever he goes. However, things are about to change when Percy and his mother are taking a summer vacation at the beach, and they're attacked by the least likely of creatures. A lepus! Which is the Latin term for rabbit! Nah, even more least likely than a rabbit, a minotaur. Percy flees and he eventually finds himself a camp, of all things, the sons and daughters of Greek gods. That's right, in this book, the Greek gods are real and their headquarters are in America. They created a camp for their kids called Camp Half-Blood, and if you know anything about Greek mythology, you know that the Greek gods are horny sons of guns as they shag everybody, including mortal women. That's why all these kids are showing up. It's like a Jerry Springer episode, except with more monsters. So, Camp Half-Blood was created so the kids can train to be ready for anything big that comes up. Now you think that in a story based on Greek mythology, surely nothing big can, but something big does happen. Zeus's lightning bolt is stolen, and Hades is the prime suspect. So Percy, along with his friends, Annabeth and Grover, go out on a quest to retrieve the bolt before Zeus does whatever God does when something they don't like happens, throws a tantrum and kills everybody. The first book gets things started off with a bang. Going into this book, my knowledge of Greek mythology was very little. Don't worry though, this book is able to catch you up with what you need to know and who's who in Greek myths. Not only that, it updates them to match modern standards, but they stay true to their characters. See? It can be done! It's much easier to translate something like Greek gods to modern times because they were written so long ago and have been adapted so much that you have to be an idiot to screw it up. Thankfully, author Rick Riordan is no idiot, and like authors before him, he offers his own interpretations of the gods. For example, Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, son of Zeus, got in trouble with his father, so now he isn't allowed to drink wine anymore. What does he drink? Diet Coke. It's little clever jokes like that which make this series stand out from other books. I was so obsessed with this book that the second I finished it was the second I started the next one, The Sea of Monsters. It's another year in another school for Percy as he's playing dodgeball with his new friend Tyson, when all of a sudden the opposite team turns into Lace Dragonians, which are cannibalistic giants. Percy is then saved by his friend Annabeth and taken to Camp Half-Blood to find it under attack. It's discovered that the tree that guards Camp Half-Blood, Talia, has been poisoned, leaving the camp unguarded. Meanwhile, Percy is having dreams about his friend Grover, who's being held captive by the Cyclops Polyphemus and has the Golden Fleece. Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson then set off on a quest to the Sea of Monsters to save Grover and find the Golden Fleece. If they don't die first. The only thing that might cause this book to have sophomore slump is that it's the shortest book in the series. But that doesn't mean it still doesn't pack all the action, monsters, and fun! This book can be considered Riordan's tribute to both the quest for the Golden Fleece and the Odyssey, two of Greek mythology's most well-known stories. I love this book just as much as the first one, if not even more, as its overreaching plot of the series starts to fall into place with the rise of the Titan god Kronos, which leads into the Titan's Curse. Percy and Annabeth are on their way to visit Maine after Grover tells them that he found two new half-bloods named Nico and Bianca. However, they can't stay happy for too long in the series as they are attacked by a manticore named Dr. Thorne, who kidnaps Annabeth. Things only get worse as the Greek goddess of the hunt, Artemis, disappears and she needs to play an important part in the war against the Titans. So now, Percy, Grover, Nico, Bianca, and Zoe, a follower of Artemis, set out on another quest to find her. But it's a Percy Jackson book, so it's not going to be an easy journey. In my opinion, this is when the series really picks up. Sure, the first two books are lots of fun, but this is the one when the series takes a dark turn. It goes from a series about fun adventure into the beginning of an all-out war between the gods and the Titans. So the book has a much darker tone compared to the first two. Don't get me wrong, it's got a lot of the humor and action of the previous books, but the stakes get higher, and the tragedy of being heroes really starts to come into play. After I finished this book, I had to take a breath to gather myself after the experience I had. But I didn't need long, because I was already wanting to jump right back in with the next book in the series, The Battle of the Labyrinth. In the fourth book, Percy starts out yet again at another school, when one day he's attacked by the cheerleading squad after they turn into Impausi. It happens. After the fight leaves the school in shambles, Percy must leave with his new mortal friend, Rachel, to go to Camp Half-Blood to meet Annabeth and Grover. There, he finds out that the Titans' forces might use an ancient maze as an invasion method, so Percy, Grover, Annabeth, and Tyson set on a quest through the maze to take control of it and keep it guarded. Meanwhile, Kronos has reached his full power, and he plans to attack. This is probably my least favorite book of the series, but that's not a knock against it. It's just that the series has such high standards that it's hard for this one to completely reach that level. But it's still great. It's still full of action, monsters, humor, and references to Greek mythology that the series is known for. Besides, you can say this book just serves as the gateway for the epic finish, The Last Olympian. Crap really goes down in this one, as the book starts off with Percy enjoying a peaceful time with his friend Rachel on the beach. It's quickly broken up by one of Percy's friends from camp, and he sets off to try to blow up Kronos' ship, the Princess Andromeda. However, Kronos knows of the attack as there is a spy at camp, and Percy and his friends are unable to complete the mission. Percy eventually makes it to Camp Half-Blood to find out the father of monsters, Typhon, is making his way across America, heading to New York to bring down Mount Olympus, and Kronos is advancing as well. In order to defeat Kronos, Percy heads to the River Styx to take on the Curse of Achilles.
Oh, this truly is hell!
He is given super strength, but he has a weak spot that can kill him if it's struck hard enough. Percy and his friends then gather their forces together as they're ready for the war between the gods and the Titans. Wow. Talk about going out with a bang. When they say this isn't war, they're not kidding. This book is full of non-stop action. Even before the war takes place, there's still some intense moments happening that serve as appetizers for what's to come, and boy does it live up to it. Just when you think the war is over, something else happens that keeps it going. You really feel the intensity of this war, as it's not easy to take down the god of Titans, so it makes the struggle to put a stop to him all the more real. This is a really great book, but it had me crying because the series I fell in love with had finally ended, and I had no more Percy Jackson to read. If that doesn't prove how engaging this series is, I don't know what does. Author Rick Riordan is a teacher whose son has ADHD and dyslexia and was struggling to read. Knowing the importance of reading, Riordan tried so hard to get his son to read. But nothing was working. Eventually, Riordan began to tell his son stories of Greek mythology and was amazed when his son showed interest in them. Riordan kept reading the stories to him until there was none left to tell. Riordan's son then suggested him to come up with new stories, and he set out to make a book series about the son of a god. And this is how Percy Jackson was born. Riordan even got help from his students in school who critiqued the work and gave him suggestions to make the story better. They even convinced him to change the title because it gave too much away early on. See? Kids are smart. This is why I keep trying to tell you people. Kids have brains. Start treating them like they do. My synopsis of the 5 books doesn't have you wanting to read the series. Allow me to talk about the high points of it. All these books have action. A lot of action. It doesn't get in the way of character and story development. Each character definitely goes through changes, and the story only gets more intense with each book. Not to mention there are plot twists aplenty. You never know exactly where the story is going, as there are lots of betrayals, deaths, and new characters popping up that change the direction the story is going. That's right, don't grow attached to a character. They might not survive too long. Riordan isn't afraid to kill off characters. Especially the kids. There's one nitpick I have of this series. It's that there is a romantic subplot. No spoilers, but it really comes out of nowhere. I guess you can see it coming from the beginning, but the books do such a great job of not alluding to it early on that when it finally comes up, it just feels shoved in. On the plus side, it's not that focused on, so it's easy to ignore when it finally shows up. Other than that, I'd say this is a flawless series of books. And that's exactly why I don't think this would work as movies. These books are so fast-paced and have so much jammed into them that the movie adaptation would be so hard to do well. The movie would feel like it's going at Speed Gonzales speed, as each time they stop to talk about the plot, another action scene or monster is popping up. Maybe the movies were able to do that, I don't know. But if they were only able to make 2 of them, then it's safe to say that it didn't work too well for them. I like to think of Percy Jackson and the Olympians as modern-day Ray Harryhausen movies. That happen to be books. If you love adventure, monsters, action, and Greek mythology, don't be afraid to pick these up. You'll breeze right through them, and probably finish the whole series in one weekend if you're not planning on doing anything else. This was a series that got me, someone who hated reading with a passion while I was growing up, to fall in love with reading. So, what you say, guys? Let's put on our pajamas, find a comfortable spot, and curl up with some good books. Oh, come on!
We can be heroes forever and ever. What you say?